Ethan had always been drawn to old furniture. There was something about the way each piece carried history, whispers of the past etched into the wood. So, when he stumbled upon an antique shop on the outskirts of town, he couldn't resist stepping inside. The shop smelled of dust and forgotten time, its shelves lined with relics from another era. Among them, a single chair stood out. It was made of dark oak, its legs carved with intricate patterns that twisted like creeping vines. Despite its beauty, something about it made the air feel heavy, almost suffocating. "Where did this come from?" Ethan asked the shopkeeper, an old man with cloudy eyes and a voice like rustling leaves. "That chair has a history, young man," the shopkeeper said. "A dark one. It once belonged to the Holloway family. Legend has it, anyone who sits in it meets an untimely fate." Ethan chuckled, waving off the old man's warning. Ghost stories were just that, stories. He bought the chair, convinced it would be a stunning addition to his apartment. That night, after setting it in the corner of his living room, he couldn't shake the feeling that the chair was watching him. The intricate carving seemed to shift in the dim light, shadows crawling along the surface. He shrugged it off as a trick of his tired mind and went to bed. The first incident happened at 3:13 a.m. A loud creak echoed through the apartment, jolting Ethan awake. He sat up, his heart hammering. The chair had moved. It was no longer in the corner but positioned directly in front of his bedroom door. "Must have forgotten where I put it," he muttered, trying to convince himself. But deep down, something gnawed at him, a cold, gnawing dread. The next night, he locked his bedroom door. But at 3:13 a.m., he heard it again. Creak. Then, a faint shuffling. Holding his breath, he turned on his phone's flashlight and aimed it at the door. A shadow stretched underneath. Something was there. Summoning his courage, he flung the door open. The chair stood right in front of him. The air around it was colder than the rest of the room. Ethan swallowed hard, forcing himself to touch it. The wood was icy, like something had been sitting in it moments before. Determined to get rid of it, he dragged the chair outside and left it by the dumpster. That night, he slept soundly, until 3:13 a.m. A sharp thud woke him. He turned over in bed, dread seizing his throat. The chair was back, positioned inches away from him. He scrambled backward, his breath coming in shallow gasps. Enough was enough. The next morning, he took the chair to a nearby river and threw it in, watching as the dark wood was swallowed by the water. He felt relief for the first time in days. But that night, the air turned icy again. At 3:13 a.m., creaking sound echoed through the silence. Ethan sat frozen in his bed, staring at the empty space where the chair had once stood. Then, he felt it, an invisible weight pressing against his chest, as if something unseen had taken a seat on him. A whisper slithered into his ear, barely audible but unmistakable. "You can't get rid of me."